going on, guys? Aquan here, back with another video. Here today to give you my review of this new Capella Gray EP, Here Damn. Capella Gray is a R&B artist, and I would say Caribbean Afrobeats artist from the Bronx, New York, who sort of had a big hit with Gallus back in 2021, I believe that was. And has been sort of the de facto R&B guy in New York since then. Before the video starts, make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers before the end of the year. But a lot of people have been waiting on a project since we've gotten Gallus. And one was promised this year, like a full-length one. But in the interim, we're given Here Damn, which I guess is his way of saying, fine, like, y'all are asking me for too much. Y'all keep asking me for a damn project. Here's something then. So this is gonna be. It seems like like a little lighter for us to chew on until we get the larger project, which I'm very excited to see. This record overall, I didn't have extraordinarily high expectations, given that even Gallus as a song was something that I had personally had to grow on me. I definitely didn't like it at first, and so my expectations weren't super high. I would say this is about how good as I expected him to be. Um, in some ways, I was surprised, and in some ways, I was a bit underwhelmed. But let's get into it. So, first, let's talk about the writing. And this is the only thing I didn't really like about the record, to be honest. I'm gonna give this a mid. A lot of the subject matter seemed pretty vapid and pretty loosely connected in a way that like wasn't really interesting or like compelling. And some of the lyrics, especially on songs like Dumb Far and First and Last, to me at least seemed a bit cringy. I'm not gonna lie to you. And of course, all this is just my opinion. Uh, but like even the chorus of Dumb Far, the way that he would like kind of force that rhyme in, I was just not a big fan of. And while there are highlights on this record, like I think Sundown, I don't think that they quite do enough to overtake some of the lowlights on here. Handsome is another song. I do like Handsome as an overall song, but it's definitely a concept, that has been done many, many times. And again, lyrically, it was just a bit cringy to me, personally. And so yeah, and this is only a 7-song album, and so misses kind of mean a lot more when there's only 7 songs, and so for that, I would definitely give it a mid for the writing. Not bad or anything like that. And like I said, there was still the highlights like Waiting On and Sunlight or Sundown, but overall, I just wasn't really as engaged with the writing. There was definitely some like lyrics and stuff that just I was like, I'm not a big fan. Vocals, I gotta give that a great, man. Besides the first song, Dumb Far, which I think is probably the biggest miss on here, the vocals were smooth, they were dynamic, and the choruses was okay. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more in the musical execution section, but the choruses were all right. But I really liked his smooth delivery, the accent, the way that his New York accent comes through, and the way that his New York accent blends with the sort of island Caribbean accent that he has is super super interesting and like really dope to listen to. As well as the fact that even though he doesn't have the strongest voice in the world, the way that he's able to give a very wide range of vocal inflections and dynamics that's still all work very well. I think that it makes for a pretty enjoyable listen vocally. That being said, Dumb Far definitely was an outlier in this sense that like I feel like it was a lot of notes that he just wasn't hitting properly, or that just felt hollow and empty when he got high at certain points. And so yeah, wasn't a big fan of that, but overall, great. I liked it. Production, I'm gonna give this a good. Um, Now, to be honest, I really like Caribbean music, and I liked the way that the production supported him in what he was doing. It was very stripped back and allowed the vocals to really pierce through, but also gave you this really consistent, solid, and cohesive island vibe that I really, really liked. That being said, it was sort of that new age R&B production with a lot less live instrumentation that I've just sort of never been as big of a fan of, or I should say, has definitely sort of been oversaturated at this point, and especially since Chris Brown sort of came on the scene and really merged hip hop and R&B in a major way. That kind of like what feels like using hip hop sounds to make R&B music. I've just never really been a fan of. And so even though you get this island vibe, it feels still like these like cheap trap sounds and like hip hop sounds to get there. And so while it overall makes for a decent listen, it's definitely not what I personally prefer in my R&B slash, uh, you know, um, Afrobeats music. And then the musical execution, I would give this. I'm gonna give it a good. I'm gonna give it a good. Again, Dumb Far was a bit disappointing, and First and Last was okay, but I don't know lyrically. Like I just can't get into that song, and it's like hard to even enjoy it sonically just because of lyrically how like just how cringy it is to me. But I really really liked Handsome. I really liked Waiting On, and I really liked Sundown. And I thought that those were like super catchy and enjoyable songs with like consistent melodies and strong choruses throughout. And overall, I definitely feel like there was even the misses on here. I think conversely from the writing, the misses, not the misses, but the lowlights on here didn't overshadow the high moments on here. And it overall was a pretty enjoyable listen. And my bad, totally forgot to talk about Roll Up Again. Overall, I like this song. Definitely middle of the road quality wise on this record, but is still a positive cap and definitely contributes to why this record is a good for me in the musical execution department and not a mid, despite the couple of lowlights that do exist on this record. I did like Roll Up Again. Remember, and I will say that like this record definitely grew on me. If at first I wasn't crazy about the music on it, but after giving it a couple listens, again, same thing happened with Gallus. It took me a second to sort of get into the vibe and get into like that. Gallus was different because it had a very very loose song structure, and it kind of like requires like I think the fact that the lyrics became iconic on Gallus really helps it out. But on this album, there's more song structure, and overall, I'm getting more and more used to his vocal delivery. And so yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this project. I'm gonna give it a good, solid project. Excited to see what he's got on the horizon with like larger projects. I definitely think that while obviously he's not a rapper, so I'm not gonna put him in any like top 10 rappers list. I think he does have the potential to crack a top 10 with his larger album or something like that. And yeah, with that being said, let me know what y'all thought of this album in the comment section below. Before I go, next review should be Nas's review. We're gonna see if I can get through it because I haven't like I started listening to it, but it just got so lyrical and so blah that I had to stop so I could get through these Ice Spice and the Tekka, all this stuff. But next review should be on some Nas, so get hyped for that. With that being said, peace, y'all.